Hello everybody, welcome back to another reading vlog here on my channel. In today's video, I am using a random number generator to potentially either determine the page number that we will be trying to read every single day that I come on here, or how many hours. I haven't really decided if I want to do both of them, but definitely I want to do today with the page count, and I want to kind of start it off a little simple, a little easy. I have no clue how long I'm going to be doing this for. I want to do a big reading vlog, and the last reading vlog I just did was a fall reading vlog for the month of October, and that reading vlog was about an hour long almost, and I don't necessarily want to make it that long again because it's really hard to edit. Everything slows down, it gets really laggy, but I do want to tackle a bunch of books in here. So that is going to be my goal in today's video, is to tackle a lot of books, maybe just come on here, not necessarily every day, but just a bunch of days, and just use the random number generator to determine either how many hours or how many pages I will be reading, and just have fun and enjoy the books that I'm reading. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into it. I am not going to screen record because I feel like if I'm going to do this 20 times, it's going to be a lot of screen recordings and across potentially multiple weeks. On my number generator, which I don't even think you can see that because of how my 50 mil is, I have 1 all the way to 125. We're gonna go ahead and hit generate. 75 pages, that's not bad. I will screenshot that just so I know what page to actually get to. However, 75 pages is not very bad because I do kind of want to play The Sims today, but the book that we are reading, I'm already a little bit into, and I did start this at the end of the last reading vlog, so I'm so sorry if you've seen that in there. However, I feel like this is a book that I really want to go over in a reading vlog. I feel like it's just going to be so exciting, even though I was told that it might be around 60% when you get into the book, and just to kind of stick through it, just keep reading, just keep pushing through. I loved it from the very first chapter, or like the very first part. That book is Cloud Cuckoo Land, and oh my goodness, I love this book so far. I just read yesterday to page 129. I actually lost my, I think it was like 100 and something day streak, 160 day streak potentially. I read for majority of this year and I lost it I think 2 days ago because after Halloween, I think I read on the 1st, but I didn't read the 2nd and the 3rd. I finally picked this up after 2 days of not reading, and I hopped in and I just love it. I am so invested, and so much has went down already in this book, and the overall basis is we have 4 different, or 5 I guess technically, people that we're following in a way, and they're all related so far and only with Cloud Cuckoo Land. It is a made-up world that was basically like a city in the sky, or a city in the clouds, and our 2 characters that we have from around Constantinople, and that is Anna and also Omir, and then we have Seymour and Zeno, which are in, I think that's in the 1940s, give or take, in Idaho in a library. And then we have a very far in the future, if I know correctly, a Constance, and she's aboard a ship, I think in outer space. I don't know, we don't have too much context on her, but right now what we've been reading about, I have found it so interesting, and I'm so glad that I picked this book up. I think this book potentially might be better than All the Light We Cannot See. It is so good right now. So I am going to be reading 75 or more pages of this book, and like I said, we are on 129, so we should definitely have gotten to around 200 by the next time that I come on here, either update or just go ahead and generate for another number. Hello everybody. Yesterday I was supposed to be reading Cloud Cuckoo Land for 75 pages. We did the number generator. You guys already know that. I didn't necessarily read the full 75 pages because when my husband got home, we kind of ate and then we did some things, so I didn't fully get there. I think I had like 20 pages left. It was so close. This morning I am to where we need to be, so on page 204, 205. So I just read to that, and we will be picking again, but instead of doing how many pages I read today, I'm going to try and do hours, but also I have some stuff I need to do today, so I don't want too many hours. I'm going to choose from 1 to 3 hours. And hopefully I don't get 3 hours because I really don't want it, but I want that as a challenge, you know? A random number generator, can you see? Oh, maybe like that. Hello? Oh, I definitely generated because that said 7. So 2, not as bad, definitely not 3. Hopefully we can get 2 hours into this, and I'm not really sure if I updated or spoke about what this is about. I do know in my fall vlog I kind of talked about it at the end, or some things that I thought about, and also in the beginning of this vlog I kind of talked of how each point of view is connected, or so far what I think they are connected by. So real quick, we are following 5 different people, or 5 different POVs. The first POV I'm going to talk about is the one that we have the least amount of information about, and I have no clue exactly what's going on. Her name is Constance. She's in the future, and it says mission year 60, I think 5 in the very beginning, the very first POV we ever get from her. But right now, as I'm reading, it's like mission year 60 and 61, and I think she's up in space, and there's a whole situation with her that I'm not 100% what is going on there. I don't know how she relates to them, but I'm sure this is the part where maybe 60% it will click, it will all make sense, and it will be so wonderful to get to that point. And then we have two people who are around the 2020s, and I think in the fall vlog I said the 1940s, and that's because our one character named Zeno, he was actually born around the 1940s or in the 1940s. He also went through the Korean War, so we do have that POV from him back there. And now we also have in the 2020s when he's in this public library and he has kids and they're reenacting and doing like a play, and it's Cloud Cuckoo Land. And technically at that same POV or same timeline, we also have our other POV, which is Seymour. And on the back of the book, it says about how he's trying to plant a bomb in the library, blow up technically the building next door, but part of the library as well. And it's at the same time that Zeno is in this library while all these kids are there. So there's something going on with Seymour, and I think if I remember correctly, he was born close to or around 2014. I think he's like 8 or so in 2014, but he has a almost like overstimulation problem. Maybe he has like autism or something to a little touch, or I don't know, one degree or another, but he has an overstimulation problem without a doubt. And he ends up finding his grandfather's either the Korean War or the Vietnam War. I think it's from the Vietnam War, but he had like earmuffs. So he uses that to kind of block out sound because in the beginning he couldn't stand sound. And he gets to the point where sometimes I'm like, I kind of agree with him because he gets very overstimulated. And he had this TV show that had it was like a superhero with its little sidekick, and it was an owl. And his neighbor, or the neighboring property from his little double wide, was actually like a forest or just full of woods. So he found an owl and he was like, you're my sidekick now. And they became friends in theory. And then of course that land got sold and it was bought by a zoning company, and they were going to make a bunch of houses or properties right against the lake. And so now they're tearing down all the woods and his sidekick is gone. And he is to the point where he goes to his mother, what I just read about, he goes to his mother where she works at the diner, and he can smell so many different smells of like the bacon, the syrup, this and that. And then he hears people saying order up or clinking their dishes or talking, or his mother asking questions. And then also at the same point he can hear, even though they're miles away, the trucks beeping, backing up, the construction vehicles going in, the chainsaws tearing down, all of the things. That's so much all that we've gotten from Seymour. And then Zeno, we kind of have, like I said, when he was growing up, he was actually in I think it was like a shack, and something happened. Oh, it was World War II started when he was growing up, and his neighbor was actually dating his father, and his father went off into the war, and I think he got killed. So his neighbor kind of raised him a little bit, but I don't think she really wanted a kid or wanted the responsibility of a child. So he mainly spent his time at the library, and that's where he was first taught about Cloud Cuckoo Land multiple years later during the Korean when he's there. And I think we've only got one snippet of that, and he kind of gets captured a little bit. So that was interesting. I'm very intrigued on that point of view because I want to know more information on that, but we haven't really touched on that. And then our last two POVs, we have Anna and both Omir. I do believe they're both around Constantinople. This is the 1400s. We haven't really got too much on Omir besides that he was born with a cleft palate, and everybody looked at him and was like, you're a demon child, you're this, you're blah blah blah. And after his siblings died and his father died, they definitely thought he was a demon child. And then randomly he got these two oxen that grew up the biggest. All their grain and stuff multiplied, so they had a bunch of yield to eat the next year and just for storage for the winter. And so then everybody's like, you did something, there's witchcraft here for somewhere, there's witchcraft. But his oxen eventually get taken with him technically to go to the Sultan, I think is what they call it, and he's kind of like the king or in charge of everybody, and he's building this something, we don't know what. I've kind of had ideas about like a catapult or something, but he's building this thing and he needs the oxen to help pull whatever he's building for this war that he's expecting. And then we also have Anna, who's in Constantinople, and her sister basically pay their own way to stay in this little, it's a place where people sew in order to pay rent and to get food, and it's not much, it's not great. And however, Anna's not very good at it. Her sister Marie does all of it, but then one day there's something that happens and Anna doesn't really speak up, and something happens to her sister. So now her sister has like these chronic pains, blindness, just random things that keep coming over her. And so Anna actually finds somebody, somebody or meets somebody, he ends up intersecting her while she's stealing chickens to try and pay for her sister's keep and stuff. And he's like, hey, if you come with me to the certain place that's old, run down, nobody goes to, but it's apparently filled with jewels, you go inside, you get everything out, we go together and go sell it and make a profit together and split the profit. I won't tell that you've been stealing people's chickens. And so they kind of go over there, and she finds, instead of jewels and stuff, like a bunch of books, and some of them are valuable, some of them aren't, and they're also like mildewy and stuff. And so they're selling these books to also pay for her sister and whatever he needs the money for. But her in particular, she's doing all this to try not to get caught, but to also provide for her sister, more so to go to this fountain to drink from. It's kind of like the fountain of youth, but instead it's for like ailments and migraines and things like that. And she's trying to make everything that's wrong with her sister correct, and also right for what she thinks she did wrong. And that's really all that we got from all the point of views. So far, like I said, I'm enjoying this book. This book is so great in my opinion, and I definitely foresee myself enjoying this and rating this such a high amount. But I do want to finish it before Saturday, and it is Thursday. So I have potentially about 350 pages left of this book, which isn't that much. However, I do have a full TBR because this was on last month, or in October's TBR, and I haven't finished this book yet, and we are on the 5th or the 6th, and we are on the 6th of November. Like, I need to step up with it. I need to hurry up, finish this book, not take too long on it, because I have 5 or 6 other books sitting on my TBR for the month of November that I really need to finish, so I can just mood read for the month of December. I won't be doing it right now. However, I will be reading, I guess, for 2 full hours, which honestly I'm so thankful it's just 2 hours. The next couple times I update, I probably won't be talking too much. I probably will just come on here, say what I did accomplish, and then also if we're gonna re-roll or regenerate for a new hour, or if it's going to be a page amount. Hello everybody, it's been a few days, and guess what? Even though it's only November 10th, we have snow. This is the first snowfall of this year, and it is so amazing, so great. I think we're supposed to get like 1 to a couple inches, like 1 to maybe 3 at the max, but more so 1 to 2. And right now my son is playing on the swing set next to me, so if you hear him, ignore him. He's a child, he's outside having fun. Oh, I didn't grab my book. Let me go grab my book real quick, and I will come back and update you. All right, I'm back, and I have my book. I do want to update on this, and I also want to talk real quick, because when I picked how long or how many hours I was going to read for, I ended up accidentally generating twice. I think the first number said 3, and then I didn't know it generated at all, so I regenerated it and it said 2. We're gonna ignore the fact that it did once say 3, and we're just gonna keep with the 2 mark. I think I was on page like 200, 204, give or take, and I was supposed to read for like 2 hours, and it's been a few days, so technically I haven't really read in these last couple days, but as of today, I have read just a teeny bit, and I'm actually on the start of a new chapter. We're back in Constantinople with Anna, and I'm on page 348, 349, so I have about like 200 pages left of this book. I don't want to go crazy and read too much today. Like, I have a lot of things I need to do, and I also think it's only an hour. Yeah, it's 15 minutes to an hour or so before my husband gets off work, depending on if he gets off work on time or not. With all that information, I am just gonna generate my page count number, and also it's gonna be just 1 through 100. It's very realistic. I don't want to sit here and potentially try and tackle 200 pages when I know I'm not gonna accomplish that. I want something that I can accomplish. I have no complaints. It is getting so interesting, so interesting. I am here for it. I am enjoying it. And also, we have a lot more of the mission year with Constance, and now there's something that happened and her dad put her somewhere, and that is where in the beginning of the book we actually find her and we're talking to her. It's really interesting to see how she got there, and then like some of the things that are going on, and right now she's trying to kind of research in a way her father and where he grew up, and that is very intriguing. But we just hopped out of her POV, so she found the location that he was born at, or where he, at least before going into space, where he was at least living, but we haven't heard anything else about it, which is kind of sad. However, let's go ahead, pull up a random number generator and see how many pages I am supposed to read today. I love the snow. This is so exciting. I know so many people hate the snow, but one thing that I really took for granted while we were living in Wisconsin, and it had like 9 months out of the year, was the fact that we were going literally to Las Vegas right after Wisconsin. So 3 years for me, 4 years for Josh, living in Madison, Wisconsin, or around Madison, Wisconsin, to then going out to Las Vegas, where I had to go to Mount Charleston to get snow, and people looked at me like I was crazy crazy because I was always standing out there in a t-shirt or long sleeves. Actually, I think I was always in shorts in November and December when it was like 60 something degrees, and that to them out there in the desert is freezing cold, and they had long coats on. The coats that people would wear that goes down to your knees that people in Wisconsin would wear when it was the negative and negative like 60 degrees, that's what they were wearing in 60-degree weather. And here I was in t-shirt and shorts. I don't know if I can turn up my brightness enough that you will see it, so we are just going to hit generate. Somebody's coming up the drive. I don't like that. My bad. I don't like it when people see me record at my one neighbor that I have, because the rest of this is a lot of acreage and a lot of different properties, but nobody lives out here. One neighbor came home. However, I did get, if you can see that, 53 pages. That's very, actually, that's a really good page number. Sorry, I'm trying to get my phone in my pocket. Just 53 pages will put us just over page 400. That is perfect. I am so ready to hop back into this book and also sit out here and watch my son play in the snow while it's actively, I feel like, ending on the snow because it's been flurrying for the last probably 6-7 hours and we're getting to the ends of it, but I am so excited about this. Spent just about 30 minutes out here and already went from, I think it was 348 to 374. I feel like if I could spoil something or a thought process that I have, it would be so good. There is one thing in particular that happens in the 1400s that I feel like connects to a certain character from the 1940s or like the I'm gonna say like 2016s or so. One person that I'm pretty sure, or I guess two people that might connect together and then also be connected in like a family, like a really great ancestor or something like that for a certain character, but I don't know if I'm correct, and I don't want to necessarily say it and I don't want to spoil anything. However, I feel like we're gonna get that little connection, like a family dynamic. I just really want to try and finish this book before I come back on here. That way we can switch to a different book and it's not just this book for the entire vlog. Hello everybody, I am back with at least one final day. We are going to finish this book no matter what because I only have about 64 pages left of this book. I'm on 510 and we have 574 pages. I probably could have finished it yesterday, but did I get a little bit sidetracked and potentially test out a new game, a new demo, and spend about a couple hours on it? Yes. And then I went out for Veterans Day to meet my husband and we ate. So in a way, I kind of caused my own defeat with not finishing this book yesterday. However, that is okay. We got 60 pages left. That's going to be so easy in this book. So I'm going to take out my random number generator and we're going to see how many pages I have to read today. We're going to go 1 through, we'll just say 300. We'll keep it a little bit up there. 300 is a lot. I don't think I've ever read 300 pages in a day. I think at the most I've ever done is like 250-ish. Even if I get a random number that's like 10, we are still gonna finish this book, okay? Because I want to finish it. I want to be done and I want to start a new book. Generate. There's no way that out of 1 through 300 we got 18. This is gonna be so easy to do. Let's go ahead. Maybe I'll record for my 18 pages I actually have to read for. I already read my 18 pages and I stopped. We're starting back with Anna back in Constantinople, or around there technically, but also there are some things that have clicked in this book that I was hoping for. I was hoping I'd get to the spot, and there were a few guesses I had and a couple of my guesses turned out correct, but one of them in particular was with our main character Constance, and it was just something about the ship and the placement of the ship, or since she's in space, just some of the things that was going on, and I just instantly felt like that was such a great twist, and I'm enjoying hopping back into her POV. I feel like we're pretty much done with the around the 2000s with Seymour. Maybe a little bit more we'll get with him, but definitely with Zeno. I feel like we're done with those. We just have Anna and then Omir in the 1400s. And then of course we have Constance in the mission year 60 through, I think it's actually 65 is what we're at now, or 66 even. I did my reading for the day. So easy. However, we are so close to finishing this book. I'm gonna go finish this book, go get my son some breakfast, go maybe eat something too in a couple hours. Eventually I will come back on here, introduce the new book, book that we will be reading. I'm coming on here a few hours later because I did go downstairs, finish my book down there after I ate some food, and I kind of walked a little bit on the treadmill and then also sat down on the bike. I just want to say that I absolutely love this book. I loved it more than All the Light We Cannot See, and All the Light We Cannot See was actually 5 stars for me. This book too is also 5 stars. I loved the overall storytelling of this book. I loved the little bit of twist that kind of happened throughout the book. I liked how the dots connected, how each character was connected in one way or another. I liked all the characters. I felt like there was some good and bad in all the characters. There were some things about one character in specific that I just did not like. I hated reading about when it came to a certain friend. I'm gonna say a male friend. Also, there was just some things that maybe I just didn't agree with, but for the most part, I just was reading this book and I was so invested, so interested the entire time that I just fully loved it, and I definitely recommend this book. This is a perfect, in my opinion, historical and like sci-fi mixed together, and also it's just a really pretty cover, and I think it's one of those that some people might not understand in the first 60% or whatever. I didn't have a problem, and I jumped right in and loved all of the characters from the start, from the very first page. I was very invested. So now that I finished Cloud Cuckoo Land, there is another book that I want to hop into. This is the start now of my November TBR. We are finally in the month of November, even though it's the second week, almost fully second week in November, because I think it's the 11th. It's the 12th. That's even worse. It's the 12th. So I spent a couple weeks on Cloud Cuckoo Land, and now I'm going into The Red Queen. This is one of those books that I feel like a lot of people have read, more so when they were in middle school. I want to hop onto that train since I thrifted this book and the second book, and I want to see if I want to continue and finish this whole series, and also if I'm going to absolutely love it and want to keep it forever, or if it's just going to be I'll read the 2 and get rid of them. I am honestly really excited to hop into this, and I don't know too much about it. I'm kind of going in blind. I do know because of the back it does say divided by blood, so there's like a tier system in a way with different colored blood, but I don't know. I don't really know anything else about it, even though I have heard some people talk about some stuff about it. It was more of like how they felt, their feelings about the book or the series, but it was like also a decade after they had read the books. I am gonna go outside with our son and kind of sit outside and enjoy the little bit of weather, because yesterday and the day before it was like 20 degrees, snowing. We had our first snowfall. You guys kind of seen that. And then today, actually, it is 60 degrees right now, or 55 going to be 60 degrees. I'm gonna sit outside, enjoy the weather for just a little bit, and then I'm gonna come inside and do a little bit of cleaning, so I probably won't get much done unless if I throw in the audiobook, because I think I have this on Libby. I'm excited to be finally moving on to a new book. Hello everybody, good morning. It's been a few days. I haven't really read too much. I think besides yesterday, I only read about like 1 or 2 to maybe 10 pages. It's been a very slow week, I feel like, because we've been kind of busy. But the good news is the house is clean. The laundry is done. I'm gonna make pizza tonight. I already bought pizza from Aldi's, so we already have food for tonight. I have the entire day to just relax, to spend some time for myself, and also to sit and read. And I think the last time I updated, I had just started, like I was picking up Red Queen. Granted, I did use an audiobook one day when I was cleaning. I am very close to being halfway through. If not, I am halfway. I'm at 184, 185, chapter 16, and I think there's like 370 pages. So we're basically around halfway. The very beginning of this, I was like, I'm not really invested into it, and I just couldn't get into it. And it was one of those where every single book that I start, I feel like I'm a little bit confused because I come off of such great books beforehand. So I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, hey, I need to give it at least 50 pages. 50 pages to 75 or maybe to 100. Like if it's real bad, maybe 100. I have to give it that many because no matter what, I feel like the first couple chapters, first 50 pages, I'm not necessarily confused, just not invested, especially if I'm coming from a 5-star read like Cloud Cuckoo Land. It was one of those where I just had to give it, I think honestly, it was about 75 pages. And then all of a sudden I was more invested into it. I think it was more so when she met a certain character and he was kind of like in a trench coat. That might have been like 100 pages into it, but definitely when she went to this, I'm gonna say like ceremony, I can't remember what exactly it was, but it's like where you fight, I guess, to potentially be with the prince, and some other things happen. And then we learn more about our main character, about her blood, let's just say. If you know, you know. If you read this book, then you know exactly the part. I think that was the main turning point where I was like, oh my gosh, hold on. This is something totally unique. I'm very interested now. And this book in particular, I really like the feel of it now. At first, I didn't like reading it. I know this is so stupid to think, but sometimes I just can't get into a book if it doesn't feel right in my hands. And this was so stiff. And then, you know, I just accidentally went a little bit like this and I cracked the spine, and now it's so perfect. It lays so nicely in my hand, and I really enjoy reading it now because I feel like with the size of it, how small it is, how like thin it is, being halfway through, and the texture, like just how the cover feels, and now with the cracked spine, I feel very intrigued to read it, to pick it up. I know that makes no sense, but it makes sense to me. I'm a big spine cracker, and I am so sorry. That's one reason I like hardbacks, because I can crack the spine, but you don't see, so I do love having my hardbacks. If you've seen a lot of my paperbacks, I don't even even care. I cracked the spine really bad. I ruined my books, it looks like. But we're gonna do a random number generator for hours today. And since I have a lot of the day, I do want to try and finish this book. So we're gonna go all the way up to 6. Hopefully I don't get too many hours. I feel like 4 or 5 would be really good, but I'm not positive, so we will go ahead and hit generate. I think I already hit it. I'm not getting 1. Let's regenerate. 5. Okay, I will do 5. I felt like 1 hour was just a little too easy and I want a little bit of a challenge, and I feel like I can finish this book in 5 hours. However, I'm gonna try and work really, really hard to finish it. If I come on here and update and I haven't finished it, just know I haven't hit my 5-hour mark. And I hate to say that, but as long as I don't get distracted or find something else to do, I feel like I can manage it. Stop. Why did nobody tell me what happens in chapter 16? I literally had just flipped the page. Actually, didn't even need to flip the page. At the very bottom of the last page, I was sitting there trying to guess exactly who, and I had one person in mind, but of course, as soon as they said it's not even a person who's red blood, I was like, it makes total sense. I knew who they were talking about as soon as they said that. This is such a good little like twist. This is perfect, and I've only read about 2 pages now. Alright, I have a small update for today in our reading. I don't know how many actual hours it's been. I think I was starting on like 183, so it's been almost 100 pages. So I'm gonna say at least like 2 hours, if not 2.5, let's just say. Chapter 22. I am trying to finish this. I have about 100 pages left because I think we had about like 200 and some odd pages left. My husband, I totally forgot. Today he had a doctor's appointment. It's one of those that he is actually coming home early. After he gets off from that doctor's appointment, he's coming home. He's actually going to have a day to be home when it's still bright outside, and we are probably going to go to our basement steps and continue working on those. We've been using a jackhammer that we bought from Harbor Freight to basically tear up those steps because they weren't done right, and we are finding that even though there's a ramp on the top side and then it turns 90 degrees and it has like terribly handmade steps, and they're also like angled like this towards the house, we also found out that underneath those steps is a lovely concrete ramp. We are having fun with that. We are just taking it. Every time we get through a step, we are taking it. So most likely when he gets home, we are going to go outside and work on that. So I don't know if I'm gonna actually get to spend 5 hours total reading today. I'm just excited because right now in this book, this has been getting really good really quickly. And I'm a little bit not like upset, but there is one person that I really think that might be maybe a bad character later on. But right now he's kind of like a good person showing up with our main character, our main female character. And I like him better for her than the original brother that she ran into in the first place. I don't know if it's gonna work out, but I'd rather her just stay with him than have maybe some thoughts, some doubts about this other guy that was once the reason why she kind of came into this little land, little world. But I don't know, I'm just enjoying this. And right now we are at a very big plot twist where they just basically, her and another guy broke some people out, and I just feel like it's gonna continue to ramp up. It's gonna end off on a cliffhanger, and then I'm gonna want to start the next book, which is not necessarily a bad thing. Real quick, my husband just got home, so I'm gonna be done reading for right now. I'm probably gonna read a little bit outside, but I'm gonna do more work than anything. Sorry, ignore what I'm wearing. With Red Queen, I am so close to finishing. I have so little left. I actually am on, hold on, I'm doing all this by hand. I'm actually on 322 and 323, so we don't have much left. I am so close. I'm almost made it. I'm done so well, I feel like, today. Hello, everybody. It is the next day. I do kind of want to do a small update on Red Queen. Also, don't look at my nails. I painted them, didn't let them apparently cure, and these last 4 are all messed up. I really enjoyed this book for the most part. The ending, I really enjoyed. The last, I'm gonna say probably honestly 50% of this book, if not more. I was really invested. I did rate it 3.5 stars. I really enjoyed this for what it was. It's definitely more YA fantasy. However, there is like that dystopian element to it, and I loved the little like systems with the blood, I'm gonna say, or like the divided by blood aspect of it. I like how there's certain characters, and I did come around to the character at first that she kind of like ran into or was the reason why she ended up here, and I said how I think it was like I didn't want her to be with him. I wanted her to be with somebody else because I just kind of, I like that more, even if it wasn't gonna work out. And I figured it probably wouldn't work out. I wasn't 100% sure, but I was just updating, and I'm not gonna spoil anything. But I do like at the end of the book the character that she is with, and I'm so excited to hop into eventually the second book. It probably won't be this year. I'm just glad that I got through with this finally, and it wasn't bad at all. Like, I'm very invested to hop into the next book very quickly. I was supposed to read read, I think it was like 5 hours yesterday, and I was hoping to be like 50 or so pages into a new book. I didn't get there. All I did was finish this book. I think it did take me more than 5 hours technically, and that's more because after my husband got home and we were kind of working outside, I was actively reading off and on, but there was a few times where I would sit down and I would just reread the whole page multiple times because I would stop halfway through, lost where I was at for some reason, and then went back in and I was like, oh, I already read this, but I just continued reading anyways. So I did a lot of double reading, which is very annoying, but I didn't get anywhere past except for just finishing this. At least we did finish it. I did accomplish my reading. However, I did hop in this morning, so I've already got, I think 50. Yeah, I have 52 pages already into a new book, and that will be The Hobbit. Just now started on chapter 4. So we will be deciding, and I'm going to include the 50 pages that I've already read, and I don't want to finish this book today. I have some things I want to do, and there's only, I think, like 260 pages, 270. It's not much. I can finish it in technically 2 days, especially if I'm gonna get like 100, 200 pages. So I think for the number generator, we're gonna do the page count because I feel like that's gonna work just a little bit better. And let's just do 1 through 150. Is it gonna go? I'm not doing 3. 112. We're gonna screenshot that. That's fine. Also, it has been a thunderstorming, dreary day. I am like bundled up. It's very cold in the house, even though it's been 72 degrees, set at 72 for the last couple days, but I have been freezing today. It is very wet outside, and I think it's just, I think it went from like 60, 70 degrees yesterday, except for with the wind blowing late at night, down, I think it's only like 30 degrees today. It's not very warm. We did hop into this, and all I keep thinking is, even though I haven't seen the movie in honestly probably 10 or so years now, I am just picturing exactly what happens in the movie with this book, and I have been looking at certain editions of the entire series of the Lord of the Rings or the trilogy and then this book, and there's a hardcover book set I really want, but I don't want to spend $100 or even 70. I think it's on sale right now for. I also have considered just collecting these ones if I can find more of the paperbacks for the Lord of the Rings trilogy in this style, because I don't mind this, and also they're like easy paperbacks to read. I did just thrift this one, so it is a little bit beat up. You can see like a little crack here, but it's not in bad condition, especially for the spine. It's like brand new there. So I have been enjoying this. There's not really much I want to talk about because I feel like if you see the movie, then so far it goes along with the movies. Like, we have our hobbit who lived in a hole in a mountain, and he basically has this wizard that comes to him that has known his family for many generations, and his name is Gandalf, and he's just talking to him, and then they go on this adventure, and you get to this point where they just went through like the trolls, and I think they had just surpassed them. You learn a little bit more of what happens there, and then I think they're moving on from that location. They were just going there to try and get some fire, some food, etc. And then they actually ended up having trouble with the trolls. That is the part I'm to. I have both the audiobook now, and also I've been reading this. I did a little bit of the audiobook when I was painting my nails and doing some stuff, but otherwise I have just been reading this, and I'm definitely excited to get into it. Also, there's photos. I didn't think about that. This edition I have has little illustrations in it throughout. And one thing I really love about this copy too, if not, it's in all of them, it has a little table of contents, but for the illustrations. So these are the pages that every illustration in this book is on. I find that so cool. I've never seen this before. I have seen, of course, illustrations of the books, but I've never seen like a table of contents for it. That's all I really have to update. I guess we will try and be at least 112 pages into this book before tonight. Hello, everybody. Let's go ahead, generate a number, see how many pages I need to read today. Listen, it has been a couple days. Yesterday, I worked on a video, a thrift haul video, so you probably have already seen that. It was like 40 minutes long. It took me a very long time to edit that video. Also, I was out running and doing some stuff, and then today I went out and met my husband for lunch. So we've been a little bit busy, and it is very dark. It's also 5 p.m. So I'm not gonna read too much. I don't even have the book with me, and I'm so sorry. I did leave it in the bedroom now that I come to think about it. I did, I think, get to like 130, 140. Not that day. That day I had 6 pages left to read. I got to 106. I was supposed to be at 112. I know I was just 6 pages away. I don't even care. It was late at night. I did not get to those 6 pages. You know what I did? I woke up the next day and I read those 6 pages, and then I read to whatever I said. I think like 130, 140. So I don't have too much left of the book. I think just about 100 pages. I don't think I'm gonna read 100 pages today. I'm gonna probably just generate 1 through, let's just do 1 through 75. That's more realistic. All right, and if you can see, if I can see, do I hit that? All right, 49. So we will try and get 49 pages. We'll just say 50. We're gonna try and get 50 pages more into that book. And I do have to go work out right now because I'm gonna prioritize working out over reading, because that's more important with what I'm trying to do with my life. I am excited to finish that book and then hopefully start another book and just end out this vlog. I realized because I've been doing so many videos for Bookmas, I'm running out of space on my SD card. So I need to get with it. I also need to try and actually get with editing. And if it wasn't for the thing that I'm using and I wasn't being limited on how many times programs I can export right now for a month, which is really annoying. Then also I get to sit here and edit, but I also hate editing for so many hours in a day when it takes multiple hours in a day, if that makes sense. But let's go ahead, start reading. I will come back on here and maybe we'll get to another book, hopefully, in this video. Hello everybody. Besides one final update, I do believe this is my final day of reading and I am so excited for it, especially for today. Kind of had a migraine, but it's slightly going away, so I have opened up the curtains and I probably look a mess. I'm not gonna lie. I have just not been feeling with it today. I have edited a little bit and I've also edited photos for other videos. So I'm coming on here because I do want to read. I want to do one last number generator and I want to talk about The Hobbits. Oh, speaking of, I actually had to get it down because in fact, I think I was supposed to read about 50 pages or so, and I did in fact finish this book. I finished this book and I think I've read more than 50 pages technically, because I think 50 pages would have brought me around 200 and I think it was only like 275, 270, oh yeah, 270 something, and I loved it. I rated it 4 stars. I did love the magic in it. I liked how there was dwarves, goblins, the hobbit, flying eagles, and I'm gonna say flying eagles not because eagles don't fly, but because they were like bigger, or how I portrayed them in my head. They're bigger. There's wolves in there, there's trolls, there were so many things. I think a dragon was in there too. There were so many different things in this book that I found really interesting, and of course you have the wizard, or Gandalf, and I liked his magic, but I also like how he kind of disappeared throughout the book and then came back later on. And I like the adventure that they went on. I like how when they went into certain different areas like the woods or the mountains, they stumbled across certain creatures, and more so in specific, there is one that I really enjoyed, and it's there then becomes this object that the hobbit ends up having in the future for other things, but when they stumble into these creatures and objects, they end up escaping, and how they escape, and just how, like, I feel like J.R.R. Tolkien did a really good job with this world. I really loved, and this is just maybe my copy, but just in general, I really love the illustrations in this. I don't know why. I was just really happy with how this copy looked and how it felt in my hand, and the illustrations. I just really liked this book. I do really recommend this book, especially since there is the movie, so you can hop into the movie right after this, and then you can kind of see how close they are, or how much the movie is very similar to the book. I'm just glad that I finally tackled it, because I put it on so many TBRs and I never got around to it, and I finally did. So that was exciting. And then also, I have another book that I picked up, and this will be the last book in this video. We probably won't finish it in this video, and I'm so sorry about that, but I did want to start another one, and I read a lot of this book. I'm not gonna lie. Last night I sat in bed and I read, and you want to know how many pages I read? A whopping 6 pages. I did hop into Red Rising, and I have no information. I have no clue what I read. I was so exhausted last night. The 6 pages, I have like a little basis because it's just the tiniest bit of information, and I feel like I don't have to reread all of them. It was like a fever dream in a way. I was just so tired that when I was reading it, 1, it took me like 10 minutes per page. It took me forever, but 2, I was sitting there and dreaming or like thinking of other things in my head as I was actively reading this. I do know that there is our main character who I guess is red blood or something. It's kind of similar to Red Queen. I don't know if it's actual blood, but they call them like the Reds, and then there's golden people or golden something, and he's a part of the Reds. And also I think he's like 13 or 14 and he got married, and I thought I got married young when I was 18. But there is also where he's like digging a tunnel or a hole in a mountain or something, because he's, I think they call him like the, I'm not gonna say what they call him because there's certain things that I technically don't want online. I don't know. I guess it can't be any worse than me probably in this video filming when a song was playing and I think it said a bad word in it, so I'm sorry about that. But yeah, it's basically, I think they have a nickname for it similar to that. But I'm not very far into this. I've heard amazing things about this. I think the original was just a trilogy, and I thought this was a completed like 5-book series. No, apparently there's another book that is soon to eventually come out, but Pierce Brown hasn't actually released it, so it's not a finished series, which I don't know how much I enjoy that or not. Needless to say, we are going to do a random number generator. I'm gonna do with my favorite, and I'm gonna pick page count just because it's my video. It's one I want to do. I'm sorry also if you guys are expecting me to put like 1 through 500 pages or something. I'm gonna be very realistic, and I'm gonna also keep it very short, and I'm so sorry for that. However, I'm going to choose 1 through 100, and I ain't even mad about it. We had 7 as an actual number. Oh, I did see that change. 39. We will say about 40 pages. That's not bad. We're gonna say I have to be 50 pages into this book since I read 6 pages, but I'm just gonna add 40 basically to it, which is so close to 50. You might as well read to 50. That's just kind of how my brain processes, but we are going to do 50 pages into this. That's right. We are on different parts, which is perfect because look, page 50, part 2. I think that worked out perfect. We have to at least get to part 2 in this book, and then I will come on here maybe either tonight or tomorrow whenever I actually get to it, and I will talk to you guys, end out this vlog, say goodbye, and we will finish this video, and I will have it posted for the next Sunday. Hello everybody, let's do the final update and also outro for this video. I'm sorry about any of the noise. My husband is currently jackhammering the last step we have out back, and then maybe we're gonna try and work on some of that ramp underneath. I'm sure you can hear it and it might be a little bit obnoxious, so I'm gonna try and keep this as short and sweet as possible. After this, I will be heading outside to go help. I think yesterday we were supposed to read about 50 pages, and I think I was only 6 pages into this book. We were supposed to get to that part 2, and I did actually accomplish that. I'm at page 58, page 59, so I didn't read too much farther. I did listen to this actually a little bit last night, probably for like 30 minutes or so on audiobook, and then I was playing a game while my husband was playing a game. We actually had a night to ourselves, or not so much to ourselves, but after our son went to bed and even while he was still up, we ended up having time to ourselves in this house and not having to go out and stay out late, and we didn't have to go do anything. So we got to be lazy and just play games, both of us, and I listened to this a little bit, and this started to get really good. I hope that it continues, and there was somebody who commented and they're like, you're in for a very crazy ride. If that comment is true for me, I'm really excited about that. So far, I feel like I'm just now getting in, like I'm still learning the characters, and we just had something that happened to somebody's wife, I'll just say. Oh my gosh, I was not prepared for that. So it's very exciting, and what just happened at the end of part 1 and how we went into part 2, I feel like it's even more exciting. So I'm glad I picked this up finally, and I'm excited to continue on to read it. I did just want to say that I did accomplish this and read a little bit more than what I was supposed to even, but probably honestly just like 2 pages if we started on page 6. So I guess I didn't really accomplish too much better. I started this video off a little bit into Cloud Cuckoo Land, and I absolutely love this book. This was a 5-star read. It was better than All the Light We Cannot See. If you have not heard about this book, I'm sure you've heard about the other book, but if you have not heard about this book, I would definitely recommend picking it up, trying and reading it, and just getting to the end. It's so interesting, and I loved all the characters in this. After Cloud Cuckoo Land, I did hop into The Red Queen, and I think it took me like 75 or so pages to get into this book. I just wasn't necessarily invested, and then it definitely started picking up once she was at a certain location, and then some other things that were going on. I loved the ending of this book. I'm excited for book 2. I feel like book 2 might be a little bit better than this book was. I did rate this one 3.5 stars. I did enjoy it. I'm glad I finally got to it. I'm so excited for the next book, and I love the twist in this book, even if I called a few of them, and even if I wanted something, even though I knew it wasn't gonna happen. I still am glad with how this played out, and I like this a lot for what it was. And then after The Red Queen, we did hop into The Hobbit. This was 4 stars. It's very similar to the movie. Love the magic, love the things and the events and the journey that they went on. Really, I don't have too much to say, I feel like, and especially since not too long ago we just talked about this book, so it's more fresh in your memory than it is in mine. I definitely recommend it, and then to go into the movie and watch the movie afterwards. And then of course we did pick up our final book, which was Red Rising, which we just talked about, so you know how that goes. I have to say, overall, I'm so happy that I read all of these books, or a good majority of all these books in this video. I'm glad that even though it took like a couple weeks technically for me, I did a random number generator for both the pages and the hours. I think that was really good, and I think in the future I should do it when a certain book comes out and reminisce about that first book, reread that first book, and then go into the second book. And I have it kind of planned out for in the future whenever that second book is released. I do love doing these videos, so thank you all so much for watching this video. I hope you guys all enjoyed it as well. If you're curious about any other book related video here on my channel, go ahead and check out the playlist down in the description, or any other video I have posted. I hope to see you in another video here on my channel, and as always, God bless.